Hi there and welcome. Thank you for joining me on National Grief Awareness Day and also for the second full moon in August, which is considered a blue moon. This moon is in Pisces, a watery sign, one of the most spiritual signs. And it's also a time where we reflect our connection with the all, our interconnectedness of being. And there may be a sense of overwhelm, the energies of overwhelm, and just that things feel like a lot right now. So, this full moon, grief nidra, Yoga Nidra, is to connect and balm and rest with our grief in whatever way that is, to take some moments out of this day to get curious about our grief, to really reach toward our grief as teacher and take some moments to rest with and walk alongside our grief. It can be painful to do that. And when we do that, it provides spaciousness for our healing and for our grief to move through our bodies. When we are not taking moments to honor our grief and be with our grief gets stuck in our bodies and can create pain. And the ways in which grief impacts us on all levels of our being is so profound. And so Yoga Nidra is a beautiful way to invite the opportunity to welcome. And in welcoming, it doesn't mean that it feels good or that it's easy, but in the welcoming, it creates the space for a connection, for a healing to possibly happen. And so the invitation here is to honor whatever way you are showing up and whatever grief is here with you consciously or unconsciously. And perhaps you want to name that grief or bring your hand to your heart to recognize the vulnerability that it takes to walk with our grief as teacher. I recently read something from Oceana Sawyer, who is another embodied grief worker, and she spoke about that we so often see grief as an experience in our life, and yet grief is life, that there is no escaping grief in our life, that so much of our emotion and possibly our stuckness, our sadness, our anger is at the root grief. And so when we honor grief, it's powerful and profound. So thank you for choosing to rest with your grief. We'll take some moments to settle to get really comfortable. In Yoga Nidra, we create a nest. You can be on your bed, on a couch, on the floor. I've had some teachers that say you could be walking and receive the medicine of your practice. You really want to allow your body to be comfortable. Supporting the head, the knees, as you lie on your back. Or on your side, maybe there's a pillow between your knees. If you're in a chair, having the chair support your back. You really want the support to meet you, to allow this practice to be effortless. Beginning to scan through the body, starting with the bottoms of the feet, toes and ankles. Just noticing the ankles being held by the earth, the foundation that you're laying on. Scanning up through the legs, the hips, the pelvic bowl, your root. And the torso, the belly, the lungs and the spine, the shoulders and arms and hands and fingers. Just noticing. What are you holding? What are you able to let go of? Continuing to scan the neck, the jaw and the mouth, the forehead, the crown, the top of the head. Beginning to take some deep yogic breaths. So expanding your belly on the inhale, allowing that expansion to move to the ribs and the chest. And then on the exhale, from the chest and the ribs to the belly. Allowing this breath, this dirga breath, this yogic, diaphragmatic breath to move your body. Taking an inhalation, letting your belly rise and your pelvic bowl drop. Your ribs expand, your chest expands. And then on the exhale, allowing the chest and the ribs and the belly to release and move toward your body once again. Taking a few of these breaths at your own pace, in own rhythm, and noticing the sweetness of you resting and welcoming your breath in this way. Allowing the breath to begin to balm the lungs and the heart, the places and spaces in your body in which grief resides most often. Warming these areas with your breath, making these places hospitable to your grief. And letting that beautiful deep breath go and come back to the natural ebb and flow of your breath. And taking a few moments to call in your intention or your sankalpa for this practice and for your life. In Yoga Nidra, we work with a sankalpa that invites us to align with our purpose, our passion, our heart's desire. And sometimes the intention is for the practice or for the day or for our life ahead. Maybe you're already working with an intention. If you aren't, perhaps I am welcoming and resting with my grief. Or I am making space for my grief to teach me. Allow this sankalpa, this intention, to rise from your heart's desire and seeding this into your heart space with 3 breaths. And now we will move through the body with a rotation of consciousness. Bringing your felt sense to the areas of the body that I name. Inviting the thinking mind to relax and melt into feeling sensation. And as you bring this feeling awareness to your body, you are invited to welcome this rose-colored light into these areas, this healing, balming, rose-colored light. And bringing your awareness to the roof of your mouth, your right and left cheek, the tip of the tongue and the root of the tongue, your teeth and gums, spacious, aware, radiating and welcoming this rose-colored light. Your third eye, the space between your eyebrows, your right eye, your right ear, the folds of the ear and the inner ear, and the right side of the brain, the left eye, the left ear, inner ear, and left side of the brain. Aware, spacious, shimmering with sensation and rose-colored light. The pit of the throat, the heart center, welcoming the rose-colored light in this sacred space of your heart. The place in which you feel your grief, the right shoulder, elbow, wrist, the right palm of the hand, top of the hand, and all 5 fingers and the space between the fingers. Your whole right arm, shoulder, and hand radiating with sensation. And this beautiful rose-colored light. Coming back to the heart space. Resting in the folds and beauty of this organ muscle. The left shoulder, elbow, wrist, palm of the hand, top of the hand, all 5 fingers, the space between the fingers. Feeling the radiance, the sensation coursing through the cells of your hand an arm and shoulder on the left side of your body. And coming back into that sacred heart space. And dropping to the navel, the pelvic bowl, the right hip, upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle, top and bottom of the foot, and all the toes and the space between the toes on the right side of the body. Allowing this radiance to be received, shimmering, this rose-colored light. The left hip, the left upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle, bottom of the left foot, top of the foot, all of the toes, and the space between the toes on the left foot. Spacious, aware sensation, vibrating with this rose-colored light. Low back, spine, back of the neck, crown of the head, the space between the eyebrows. Alive and aware of sensation, of presence, radiating, trillions of cells radiating with sensation, this rose-colored light. Noticing the right side of the body, and the left side of the body. And the front and back body. Resting in awareness and sensation. And welcoming the rhythm of your breath. resting in the rhythm of your sweet breath. Taking a few moments in this breath to find your way back to your heart space. Allowing the lungs as you breathe to be the wings of your heart, expanding and contracting as you do on your grief path. Allowing the breath and the lungs to support all that your heart is holding, all of the grief and emotion that your heart is holding. Allow this breath, the rhythm of the inhalation and the exhalation, to be a balm, to be a comfort as you breathe with and through your grief. And imagine that your breath can extend beyond your body. The inhalation moves beyond your body. And the exhalation invites the breath to move down through the feet and into the earth. Resting here in the stillness of the breath, the quietude of the heart and your grief dancing together. And welcoming back your intention, your sankalpa from the beginning of the practice. If it feels good, begin to welcome small movements of the fingers and toes, the legs and arms, maybe rocking your head from side to side. What is it that your grief needs right now in this moment? Deeply listen. Listening to the impulse of your body. What do you need right now? Inviting you to continue moving and coming back into presence, into your body, this physical sheath, this food body, Anamaya Kosha, this body that is wondrous and intelligent and that holds our grief, our emotion, our energy, our dreams, our intention. If you are laying down, the invitation now is to come to a comfortable seated position. Might feel good to do a bit of a twist from side to side, tapping the body a little bit, tapping the face, shaking the arms and fingers, whatever feels good to bring you more closer to presence, the grounding deep breath. And taking a few moments to honor yourself. As you've said yes to taking this time to be with yourself today, to be with your grief, to welcome and connect and perhaps receive some wisdom from your grief. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. May you be held in deep care on your grief path.